Happy Monday morning and welcome to the John DeVito Show. I'm going to try to keep this podcast relatively quick today. I want to keep it at 15 minutes if possible because I know you're all busy. I try to keep these podcasts in small, bite sized listening bits so you can sit back, relax, and enjoy and not have to invest too much time. So I'm going to get right into it today. We have a lot going on right now in the country, we have a lot going on in the world. And the three things I want to really talk about today is we're going to talk a little bit about Zelensky is coming to DC tomorrow to meet with Joe Biden, and it looks like he's got the palms open again, looking for more money. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Elon Musk restoring Alex Jones to Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. I still have a hard time calling it X. I still call it Twitter. But Alex Jones is back, and he's a conservative voice. He got quite a bit of criticism for his comments he made around the Sandy Hook shooting, which I understand completely because I live in Massachusetts and we have friends that live in that district. So I do get why people were upset about that. But should he have been removed from Twitter at the time, which is now X? We'll talk about that. And then we're also going to talk about the presidents of some of these elite colleges we have in this country. You saw Penn, what happened there. And now Claudine Gay of Harvard, who's the president of Harvard, is under the gun for failing to condemn comments about anti-Semitism at Harvard. So we get a lot going on today in the good old US of A as usual, and we're going to talk about some of it. So I'm going to start with Zelensky. That is, it just drives me crazy that this guy is coming back again looking for more money. I don't know how you all feel about this, but we've given enough. We've given enough. And it kills me when you see these Democrats on the left. They don't want to get involved in Israel against Hamas. And I get that because I don't want to spend money there either. But we send so much money overseas. We have people in this country suffering with no food, people that have mental illnesses, people with drug addictions. You've got veterans living on the street. And again, we're sending hundreds of millions of dollars to Ukraine. Now, I'm hoping that Congress will dig their heels in for once and reject this newest plea for money. He comes to America with a big giant tin cup looking for money for us to support the war, the proxy war in Ukraine against Russia. So, a lot of people think that a lot of this money is going right back to Biden and going right back to his administration. We've seen in some of the conversations between Hunter Biden and China, 10% to the big guy. I would be a bit surprised if this was a money laundering operation for the Bidens and you had money going back to them. Because, I've never seen in my lifetime this amount of money being given to a country like this. And I guess my question is, how does Zelensky have time to hop on a plane and fly to the USA when his country's fighting a war to beg for money? Now, one of the things I've heard is that Congress is demanding that the Democrats and Biden finally close the border. As you all know, we have hundreds and hundreds of thousands and millions of people coming into the country since Biden was elected president. And again, some of these people are good people, no doubt about it. Some of these people are seeking asylum. They're good, hardworking people that just want a better life, and you can't, uh, you can't, really look at that and feel anger towards these people. They're being led into this country. And if I were them and I was looking for a better life for my family, I would probably do the same thing. But it's not up to them. It's up to our country to shut that border and make sure that anyone we're allowing into this country is doing it through a legal process. So one of the things that I'm hearing is that Congress and the new Speaker of the House is talking about how they are going to demand new policies at the border before any more money is being approved for Ukraine. Now, I like part of that statement. I like the fact that they're talking about closing the border because I think it needs to happen. We need to make sure we have a safe country. We need to make sure we know who's coming into this country. We need to make sure that we don't have terrorists pouring in through the border. They're going to attack us internally. And we have to have a closed border. There has to be a checks and balances procedure to ensure that we know who is coming into our country. That's a very simple way to say it, and it's straightforward. So regarding that, I agree with it. But again, why are we sending more money to Ukraine? Now, We don't want to get into the middle of Israel and Hamas, and I agree with that as well. But why are we looking now to continue to send hundreds of millions of dollars over to Ukraine and fight this war that we have no business being part of? Of course, the problem is what most of the American population doesn't realize is that we have interests in Ukraine. Now, I've done my research. I'm sure a lot of you have as well. We have a lot of biotech companies that are creating viruses that are in Ukraine that are owned by American businessmen. We have we have companies that are creating viruses like the coronavirus in Ukraine, and that's where these places are. And you've got to imagine that there's money tied to people in America, and including politicians in America. So Zelensky's coming in. The sight of the guy drives me crazy. I think he's basically no different than your typical homeless person on the side of the road that's panhandling for money, and they intend to go out and use that money for drugs and not buy food. I mean, that's what Zelensky is. He's a two-bit hustler, and he's coming in again. And the Biden administration is going to welcome him in with open arms and talk about how the United States is pledging their complete support to Ukraine. I don't know about you. I'm not pledging my support. I want to be done with that war. I don't want another penny of American taxpayer money going overseas until we have every problem in this country resolved. So I would like to see Zelensky kicked out of the White House on his ass if possible. I know it won't happen because they're going to roll out the red carpet, and then Biden's going to write another big check, of course, to Zelensky to pad his pockets and his own pockets. So got two other things I want to talk about today. I'm cutting this in 15 minutes or close to it, so bear with me. Now let's talk about Harvard and Claudine Gay. Now, I don't know Claudine Gay at all. I don't know what she stands for. I don't know what type of person she is. I'm sure she has a lot of very good qualifications. She was given the job as at Harvard as president. Now, as many people know, Harvard is known as being a much more left-wing type of entity than right-wing for sure. And Claudine Gay, once the students of Harvard started protesting for Palestine and against the Jewish people in this country and across the world, I do believe that Claudine Gay had a responsibility to stop that in its tracks. We cannot allow any type of violence to set in that could end up hurting any Jewish students or even any Palestinian students. I mean, you saw what happened up in Vermont where the three young men, one of them was shot and he's now paralyzed. We've got to start by really working on making sure that any of these protests that happen are peaceful. And any time any of these protests, whether they're for Palestine, whether they're for Jewish people, whatever it may be, we have to make sure that the second these things start to take a turn and become violent, they need to be stopped. They need to be ended. The police need to be called in, and these people need to be taken away. So Claudine Gay had a chance to make a statement and condemn anti-Semitism on the campus of Harvard, and she stopped short of doing that. She would not do so, and she felt that she could not come out and make a statement of preventing anti-Semitism at Harvard. Now, I don't know the demographics of Harvard. I do know that they've got some ridiculous amount, I don't even know, like $100 million or I don't even know, it might even be $100 billion endowment for the university. I mean, Harvard is so wealthy. And I would imagine that over the course of the years, there have been many prominent Jewish people that have gone through Harvard, that have become businessmen, that have gone into, entertainment, whatever it may be, finance. And I'm sure a lot of these people that are Jewish that have gone to Harvard have given money back to the school. So I would imagine that if I am a person of Jewish descent and I went to Harvard and now all of a sudden I'm seeing students on campus protesting against Jews, and I'm seeing the president come out and not be willing to defend Jews, I mean, you've got a severe problem here. Now, we hear so much today about equity and all this stuff. Now, equity, wouldn't that also be something where maybe Jewish people are protected? Wouldn't equity be something like white people should be protected also? It shouldn't just be for people of color. I mean, again, Jewish people have been through hell and back over the years with the Holocaust and the millions of people that died there. So at these universities, there is no place whatsoever for this type of anti-Semitism. And I mean, from my perspective, I don't have really any really vested interest in whether or not Claudine Gay is removed from office. But I can't imagine that Harvard has any choice but to remove her from office, because if they don't, then they're really revealed as just a fraudulent college where they are only benefiting certain people and they turn their back on other people. And I can't see how they could possibly turn their back on the Jewish population that has gone to Harvard over the years. Okay, so that's my feeling on that. Now I'm going to move to Alex Jones. Let's talk about Alex Jones briefly. I'm at 10:39. I'm going to be close to my 15 minutes, like I said. But Alex Jones is a man that speaks his mind. Now, one of the things that I did not like about him, now I can say that I did not hear the entire statement, but he was saying that the whole Sandy Hook thing that happened in Connecticut was a conspiracy. I'm sorry. I live close to Connecticut. I know people that live in Connecticut. We have friends that live in Newtown who had kids of that age the morning of the shooting. Thankfully for their family, they were in a different elementary school at that time, and they were not at Sandy Hook. Let me be very clear about this where I stand. What happened at Sandy Hook was a terrible tragedy. It is horrific behind, more than anyone can even imagine what happened there. And the thing that breaks my heart the most about Sandy Hook is you had a young man, I think it was Adam Lanza was his name. He was obviously a troubled person. He was a troubled person. They shouldn't have had guns in the home. That was a person that needed help. The mother tried for years to get him help. And Adam Lanza took that gun, or the guns that he had. He shot his mother, killed her, and then went into the school and wreaked havoc like we've never seen before in any school. So for Adam Jones to come out and say that Sandy Hook didn't happen, or it's a conspiracy theory, he could not have been more wrong in those comments. My prayers go out to the people in Connecticut. My prayers go out to the families of Sandy Hook. My heart's with you. I can't imagine. I'm a father of four, and I can't imagine the pain that all of you felt when that happened. So I love all of you, and I'm sorry that that happened to you. And I do disagree with Alex Jones making those comments. Now, that being said, in this country, according to the Constitution, we have freedom of speech. And freedom of speech is a double-edged sword. Sometimes people are going to say things that are reprehensible. Sometimes people are going to say things that you don't like, that you don't love, that you don't agree with. And when they say those things, then they will be judged for the things that they said, like this gentleman was. Now, that being said, with our Constitution and the freedom of speech, just because someone may say something that's stupid or insensitive, that does not mean they don't have the right to say it. Now, separating Alex Jones from the awful things he said about Sandy Hook Elementary School, I don't believe a person is made up of just one choice or one decision they've made in their life. Sometimes people make bad decisions in their life. Sometimes people do bad things. Sometimes people say bad things. I think in this particular instance, Alex Jones said something bad, said something stupid, and he paid the price for it. So we're going to move that off to the side and talk about Alex Jones, the person. Now, Alex Jones, the person, he has been called a person that hates. He has been attacked for his stance against the media. One of the things that Alex Jones does do well is he does speak very strongly and coherently against the matrix, against the government that is controlling every aspect of our lives. So while I don't love what Alex Jones had said about Sandy Hook, and quite frankly, it really upset me, I do believe that X and Twitter and Elon Musk did the right thing by reinstating him, because again, in this country, we have the freedom of speech. And unfortunately, over the last number of years, we've seen media outlets, we've seen social media like Facebook, Twitter, other places, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, have tried to take away the freedom of speech in America. And they've done it very much in a one-sided fashion, where they have allowed people on the left to scream from the rooftops anything they want to say, but people on the right are punished vehemently and decisively when they say anything that maybe is even mildly considered to be right-wing slanted. So, as far as everything that's going on right now, Zelensky's coming in. Let's kick his ass out the door. I don't want to give him another dime. We need to shut the borders. Hopefully, Congress and the rhinos that are in the Republicans in Congress don't cave like they always do, because quite frankly, they know better than the Democrats. And you look at Claudine Gay at Harvard. Again, I think we need to end this wokeism. And Claudine Gay needed to come out and very firmly speak about anti-Semitism in Harvard, and she needed to let everybody know that that is not acceptable. Just like it would have been not acceptable for racism against Black Americans, against Hispanic Americans, against Italian Americans, us. If there was something where things weren't fair for women, she has a job to come out and speak out against those things, and she dropped the ball when it came to anti-Semitism. I think they need to can her. Maybe that's up to them, and if they don't, they don't. Harvard has to live with whatever they've created, and they certainly have lost some respect in my eyes. Not that that matters to them, but they have. And regarding Alex Jones, stupid comments about Sandy Hook, but the bottom line is we still have freedom of speech in this country, and Twitter/X/Elon Musk did the right thing. Now, I'm a little bit over my 15 minutes, so I'm going to wrap it up very quickly. I want to thank a dear friend who sent my family a menorah in the mail. We got something from Amazon, and we are not Jewish, but we are lighting our menorah nightly as paying tribute to the many Jewish people that are struggling right now in America due to the war between Israel and Hamas in the Middle East. So for everybody out there, I hope you have a great week. Hopefully you enjoy this podcast. If you like my show, please share it with a friend, and I hope you come back and listen to some more episodes. Have a great day, and thank you so much for joining the John DeVito Show.